All right, welcome back to Boring Reviews. Nick here, and yes, you've been asking for this forever. You know what's going to happen. A solo review. Oh wait, no one really asked for that. But you're going to get one anyways because I'm the only one at Boring Reviews that has seen this movie. So I had a few requests. We at Boring Reviews had a few requests to check out this film. It is called Avane Srimannarayana. I know I butchered that. I was working on the second part. I'm not sure how to pronounce the Avane word. In English, it'd be like Avane or Avani, but I'm guessing it's Avane. Srimannarayana. This is the film I'm reviewing today. One of our viewers, one of our subscribers had mentioned, hey, it's on Amazon Prime. You reacted to it. You should check it out. This is a film that just came out December 27th, and here we are in February. It's already available on streaming. I love that. I had some time. I'm going to talk about it. Here we go. Boring Reviews. All right, before we get started, don't forget that if you like this video, go ahead and like it as you're watching it. And if you really like it and you're new to Boring Reviews, go ahead and subscribe. And if you love this video and you watch the entirety of it, thank you very much. Check out some other videos we have on Boring Reviews. I have lots of playlists created for you. You can check out some of the most recent cricket videos that we have done and so much more. And last but not least, don't forget to check out our Patreon page. We're getting a lot of love and we appreciate that. Every single dollar that is given to Boring Reviews goes to upping the quality of our videos. And so all the love we're getting so far, we really appreciate that. Go ahead and check it out and see if there's any tiers for you. With all that out of the way, I can't wait to talk about this movie with you. So this movie, I was told by one of the viewers in the comment section that if you like Pirates of the Caribbean, you're going to love this film. And that definitely piqued my interest because especially the very first Pirates of the Caribbean, that is such a fun ride. I don't say that too many times for movies, but that one is. We get introduced to Jack Sparrow, great character created by Johnny Depp. And so when I heard that, definitely got to check this out. There's no pirates in this movie whatsoever. Not ocean pirates, at least. There is no pirate ships. There's no R-matey type stuff. And so at first I'm like, really? Pirates of the Caribbean? And so I started watching it and I didn't really get the connection. And then about 30 minutes in, I started thinking again about that comparison to Pirates of the Caribbean. And I started saying, okay, I can see that with the character. And then as it went on and went on, I completely think that is a great comparison to a Hollywood film. Because in this film, we have our lead character, Narayana, who is like this maverick cop, as IMDb says. He is this police officer, and he is just Mr. Cool. And when you watch this film, if you go into this film looking for a serious drama where everything is based in reality and everything in that movie is going to happen only if it happens in reality, you're going to be very disappointed. You're going to be very angry with this movie because that's not what this movie is whatsoever. This is a movie that's going and upping that cool factor. And it kind of reminds me of KGF, which I believe is another Kannada film made by different people, but where there's that over-the-top in KGF, he, pushes back his hair, he's fighting those guys, and actually, no, he takes the other guy's hands, he's fighting, and he brushes his hair with it, which is pretty cool. This movie has moments like that where it's over the top, but it works. It is just so cool that it works. And so we get introduced to our hero, our main character, standing outside of this saloon. And he's just sitting there and he's just posing. And as he's posing, he's lighting his cigar. I already know, okay, this is the kind of character we're going to get. And side note, every time a character was drinking alcohol or smoking a cigar or a cigarette, there was a little message at the bottom. And this time it was in the language of the film, I think Kannada, and so I couldn't read it. But usually when I watch these movies, a lot of movies from India, they'll have that and it'll say that they don't endorse smoking and smoking is a dangerous habit, which I thought that was kind of nice. And so that would come up when he's smoking his cigar. But he walks in here into that saloon and he just really introduces himself. He is very charismatic. He is very silly, but in a cool, funny way. And he also, like Jack Sparrow, he is the smartest guy in the room. He's got the angles figured out usually before he goes into that room. So if plan A doesn't work, he's got plan B, and it's all part of the plan. And like Jack Sparrow, he fails sometimes, but usually he's more right than he's wrong. But so there's that. There's the music, which actually kind of sound a little bit like the drums in the Pirates. In this film, it doesn't steal that theme, but it has two main scores or medley or songs in there, instrumental, and one reminded me, it had a feel of the Pirates song. It wasn't a Pirates ripoff whatsoever. The other song that's playing on the record, that the leader, the bad guy with the beard, the 7-foot tall guy, the song he's playing reminds me a lot of one of the songs in the movie Hook, believe it or not. It's very, very similar. It kept throwing me off. It kept making me think of that. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about, and if you also agree, if you've seen Hook, one of my favorite childhood films. Back to this movie. Those are the comparisons I saw with Pirates of the Caribbean. Not just that, but also Buried Treasure. I mean, hello. And even the coins kind of look like the coins in Pirates of the Caribbean. And a whole lot of bad guys tricking bad guys. And even Narayana, he is kind of a bad guy because he's a maverick. He's a guy you can't really rely on at first. He's in it for himself. And he's trying to get gain from this whole craziness that's going on. And so a lot of that's like Pirates. But of course, this is a movie all on its own. If we had to compare it to Pirates of the Caribbean, I would say that this is the sequel we always wanted in the pirate films, but with different characters, with different settings, with different situations. But this is 100% a film all on its own, and this is a movie that really blew me away with how entertained I was watching the entire thing. I did some research afterwards, and it turns out that the writer for the film took about 18 months to hammer out this script from start to finish. That's a long time, I would assume, on a script. And then when it was ready, it took almost, I think, like 200 days, 155 to 200 days of filming. And they talked about how this is one film that had one of the most different set pieces, different scenes that they had to create props for and whatnot. So a whole lot of work went into this film. And it looks amazing. The video quality is fantastic, and it's so awesome to see that come through on our HD TVs in our homes, on Amazon Prime, because every dollar they spent in the production totally paid off. It was a very sleek, very nice-looking film. The practical effects and some of the special effects, they worked out perfectly. You felt like you were right there. It was fantastic. The costume design, the production design is absolutely top notch for this, I don't want to say slapstick, but kind of silly film that's also, it takes itself very seriously at the same time. This is an actual great film to watch, and I love being entertained by it. Obviously, I love the lead character. I'm not going to get into the synopsis because this is a 3-hour film, and so it would take about 35 minutes just to go through the synopsis. I'm going to just focus on some of my favorite parts. But absolutely, my most favorite part is the lead character, Narayana. And I always question myself whether I'm saying that right, but Narayana, yeah. And I kept listening to the way the bad guy, I got to get his name because I can't just keep calling him the bad guy. So the bad guy on Wikipedia mentions his name as just Rama Rama, the king of the group of outlaws or land pirates. He was phenomenal. He was a great villain. And then we also had kind of a second villain because at the beginning of the film, his father, who is the king of this group of people, who their loot, they keep calling it, their treasure was stolen by this traveling drama group. And so they take them out right at the beginning. That's a great shot, great scene to open it up and set the stakes. He's dying. His health is poor. And so his son, he wants to be the rightful heir, but the king says, no, none of you guys are worthy enough. So whoever gets the treasure and brings it back will be the new king. His son, right here, is calling him Rama Rama, but that's not what they call him in the film. He's not having it, and so he's prepared to allow his father to die so that he can take over. And so he was a great villain, but he has a half-brother, Tukaram, who was a different type of brother. He was an illegitimate relationship where the king had this son. He was a grown-up half-brother, and he favored him because he either pitied him or he felt bad for him or he just cared about him a little more. and so he wanted him to be the new king, but the full brother did not want that to happen, and so you had a whole bunch of family squabbling. But the main villain was a fantastic villain. He was definitely terrifying. He was big in stature. I mean, he looks like a guy that can take several different blows, and you're not even going to phase him. His whole group, his whole band of men, they were very intimidating, and so they really made it seem like a real threat. But then you have Narayana, the Inspector Narayana, who's played by Rakshith Shetty. He is, like I said, and I keep saying it, he's phenomenal. The actor did a great job of portraying a very charismatic, very likable character who just is the coolest, most appealing guy in every room he walks into. And he tells these tall tales about himself, a lot of them not true, some of them based on a little bit of reality. But I thought he was cool. And I noticed that there were a few other Shettys on the casting right here. One in particular played Cowboy Krishna. He didn't have much of a role, but he was a cool-looking kind of guy sitting back in the saloon with his sunglasses on. Did some research. Turns out that character is going to get its own spin-off movie, high budget as well. So I thought that was pretty cool that the audience has reacted so well to that minor character that he's going to get his own film. I personally would love to see a second one in this film because you have a movie series, in my opinion, potential where you have an inspector who can go on different adventures and do different things. But back to the film, he wants to get this treasure for himself. The descendants of the traveling drama group who were ancestors were wronged, they want to just be protected. They don't want them to know about the loot. And then, of course, the bad guys want the loot to bring it back because it's treasure. Who doesn't want treasure? And so there's all that craziness going on, and the inspector keeps getting caught in the middle of it and trying to do his own thing. And it's a glorious adventure. Again, if I do the synopsis, it's not going to pay enough due to how great this movie is. Some of the things I loved about this film, not just the amazing dialogue, and some of it was so quick it was hard for me to keep track. I loved the actress that played Lakshmi. She did a great job. She was an independent. She was a strong character. She knew exactly what she wanted. And I thought it was really cool where we had that dance number where they're celebrating Narayana because a prophecy gets fulfilled where the eagle lands on his arm. We find out it's because he's wearing a certain costume where the eagle usually lands on that part of the prop of that costume. And so he is like their chosen one in the prophecy. They're Sri Mari or something like that. They call him Hari. And so they start worshiping him. And he's supposed to, in the prophecy, the other prophecy, marry Lakshmi, and she's not having it at all. But there's this great dance number where he's picturing this one dancer as Lakshmi, and she's smiling, and she's all invigorated, and she's all energized. And I saw that actress in a completely different way because most of the film, she's very tough, but she's got the scowl the entire time. So to see her smiling and jovial and having a good time, I was like, is that the same actress? And sure enough, she was. So she's definitely got that range where she can just play the very dark and then the very happy and jubilant? What's that word? Vibrant? I don't know. Very happy. And so that was cool. I'm just going all over the place because my mind is just going like crazy because there's just so much in this movie. I love the tone. It reminded me of a Quentin Tarantino to a certain degree. I wonder if he's an inspiration for this director and these writers. But you can tell that Rakshith Shetty had a part in writing the script because he makes this character his own 100%. I've got to see this guy in other films, this character in other films. I know the actors in other films. I also like how smart the inspector is, how he pieced together conversations that you don't think he's really paying attention to, and how they lead to his benefit later on. I love the whole bandmaster character and how he played his small part in the plot and having things move along. I thought it was interesting how the one character who the eagle is supposed to land on, you can tell he has a crush on Lakshmi, and so he have his part of that whole ploy to trick the people that believe in the prophecy that they did not, because he's hoping that he'd be able to end up with Lakshmi, and that didn't work out. I love all the action, the fighting. The last battle scene is fantastic. The inspector realizes that the half-brother was going to burn down the fort by the kerosene or whatever he saw on the walls, and so he used that to his advantage. He did a great job of tricking these people with the ring and taking the jewels off and hiding that to the side and having that play later on. As I'm watching the movie, about halfway through when that part comes, then I'm starting to realize, okay, he's actually doing this for a reason. He's talking to these guys for a reason. He's mentioning those people that are helping him with the horse for a reason. I mean, he's taking advantage of everything he has because he's in this impossibly dangerous situation with all these impossibly dangerous people. And he's obviously used to it, being a police officer in this almost like Wild Wild West type setting, so that he uses it to his advantage. And it's really fun as part of the audience to see that unfold and to see the look on the faces of these big bag scary guys who were outsmarted by the inspector time and time again. One small part I really love was when the inspector is talking to the king, and he's got that bowl of fruit there, and the king's men has his partner, the police partner, and he throws him an apple, and the guy's like, "Oh, good, apple, thank you." And then the guy's talking, the inspector's trying to convince the king about something really important, and then his partner interrupts him and says, "The grapes, please, and the banana too." I thought that was awesome, and this movie has so many different moments where it's just laugh out loud hilarious. I was cracking up as I was watching it. It doesn't take long to get the sense of humor of this film, the tone of that, and it does a great job. It reminds me of a Marvel movie with the jokes being used perfectly, and they work on those jokes to where it leads up to it. There's a build-up so that it's worth, and there's a payoff when you're laughing at those jokes. There are so many good parts. I love the part where he's fighting the guy at the end, and the guy keeps calling himself a 7-foot monster or 7-foot tall guy, and he slices him. He's on his knees, and then the inspector says, "I think I remember someone saying something about a 7-foot person, but I don't see him anywhere." I love that personality and that charisma of the inspector. I think personally, you take the inspector character out of the movie, which is the whole movie, obviously, you take him out, and it's still a good film. It's got a good foundation and good base, but it's not nearly as entertaining as it is. I was just really blown away at how much I liked this film, because when we did the reaction, there wasn't a whole lot of fanfare for it. There wasn't a lot of people in the comments demanding us to do a review on it. And I'm watching this, and this is, in my opinion, something that could have came out in the States and done very, very well. I wonder why they don't get a more wider release, these Indian films, because this was 100% fun for the entire 3 hours. It takes you from place to place. The amount of planning it took for the production, I'm just floored by it. This is a seriously epic style film, and it needs to have more praise than it has. And I'm not doing it justice in this review, but I'm telling you, if you have not seen it and you have Amazon Prime, it is 100% worth the watch. I am 100% recommending this film. You are going to love it. You are going to crack up. You're going to fall in love with these main characters, especially the inspector. And if you're like me, you're going to love the tone and the style of the film. It's just a very cool, very fresh film. I love that the writer spent 18 months putting this film together, writing this out, because he obviously, you can tell, he put a lot of work into it. You can tell that there's a lot of thought in every single part on what the characters are going to do. I don't really think there was a part where I was bored at. There was a part where I'm like, oh, we don't need this. Everything built upon itself as you learn about these groups and about these characters and about these groups of characters and what they're doing. I was intrigued on where the loot was at, what this tree was they're talking about. There's just so much going on in this film, and it all ties in together perfectly. I don't feel like I was too confused about what was going on. I just love this film. And I hope that you are understand what I'm saying in this review. Sometimes I get so excited about a film, I'm just like the Joker says, that dog chasing a cop car, and when I get there, I don't know what to do with it. I mean, that's me right now. But if you're like me and you love this film, go ahead and mention in the comment section. Let everyone who's watching this video know that they have to watch it. Let me know what are some of your favorite parts. I mentioned some of my favorite parts. I'm trying to think of parts I did not like, and I can't really think of it. I liked the major characters, the minor characters, obviously the production, the writing, the direction. There was some nice little small details. I mean, we got fingers being cut off several times. It's a fantastic film. And I believe it's something that most ages could enjoy. Even with the fingers being cut off, they don't show the gore of it. You just know what's happening. And so, I mean, this is something you can watch with maybe your teenage kids, preteen kids, maybe not too young of kids, but this is something the whole family can enjoy. And if you get past the subtitles, if you're like me and you don't speak the language, then you're really, really going to enjoy it. You're going to read, obviously, but you're really going to enjoy what you're watching. As far as a grade for this film, I am grading this film based on my how much I was entertained by it, like I always do. I'm not grading it based on how great of a film and how much boxes it checked as far as the cinema score. And so I'm going to give this film easily an A because I see this as something that could have been a huge blockbuster. If Hollywood was able to remake it and have it English spoken and not dubbed or subtitles, I can't imagine it would not do awesome. You got to bring the same actor, though, Mr. Shetty, in because he would do a fantastic job. But that's my review. I'm giving it an A, 100%. It is totally worth it. It's super entertaining, worth your time, even though it's 3 hours long. Check it out. If you do, let me know what you think. And until next time, adios.